All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, but our chair should be here very momentarily, so I'll just get things started real quick until she arrives. First on the agenda, roll call, please.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Heffler. Here. Commissioner Mazer. Commissioner Morales.
Present.
Chair Ray. Commissioner Strebs.
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner DeLue.
Here.
Commissioner Gisler.
Here.
7 present.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have public comment. This is an opportunity for residents to address the Board of Commissioners. You have up to 3 minutes, and please give us your name and where you're from. Thanks. Welcome, Sheriff.
That may not be a good idea. Tom Edmonds, 3512 Tampson Avenue, City of Kalamazoo, a 30-year retiree of this county and a proud member of county government for all those years. I understand that there is discussion within your ranks right now on the possibility of addressing a very serious equity question that has arisen, I'm certain, by benign neglect, not by any malicious intent. But the retirees, the 500 of us that are retirees, the folks that mowed the grass, cleaned the toilets, fixed things for the county all those years, saw their last COLA, last adjustment in their retirement in 2001. When I joined the county in 1976, it was pretty much standard procedure. Every 2 or 3 years, the county would adjust for inflation with its retirees, which it was equitable. Didn't always reach the point of true inflation, but it was the right idea. Somehow that fell through the cracks. And I think, if I may be frank, I think the driving force there was balancing the county budget in some years when it was convenient to lower the contribution to the defined benefit fund and allow that to make up surplus or make up shortfalls in the actual county budget. And it was legal. And it was the question is ethics and morality, not legality, because by doing that, even though the fund was fully funded, they didn't address the issue of COLA. COLA did not get attention for that 20 ensuing years, and we've seen in the last few years some very serious inflation, and it's eaten into the retirement of those folks. So the fact that members of this board tell me they're considering addressing that is very heartening. I think it would be a very true gesture on your part, and it's a gesture for your current employees, because they will, if you don't address the issue of COLA now and don't address it going forward, then they will suffer the same fate. And I know some of those people who did not have the privilege of making as much as I did working for the county, who in now 20 years are now on the edge of poverty because they're that inflation, which has run 73% since 73%. And I think it's a fair number because as I was talking to Vice Chair Taylor earlier this evening, I looked at the salary schedule for the current sheriff for next year, and I can assure you I support it, and I think he earns every penny of it. He is a friend of mine. But if you look at what I went out at 20 years ago and look at what you're paying him now, you have addressed inflation in every one of those years. And I think that's equitable. But in the meantime, those folks who went out 20 years ago have seen nothing. So the fact that that initiative is before you, I would encourage you to do as much as you can for those people. They're not here in mass because I talked to them I run into Costco and other places, and they're all very excited about this initiative, but they're kind of shy. You know, they're not used to coming. And unlike those of us who you never can get to shut up, they're a little shy to come in and complain. But I'm telling you, they're hurting. They're hurting. I think, Commissioner Lou, your city has a 2% COLA built in its union contract. So every one of those 20 years, if I had been patrolling with the city, I would have seen a 2% raise. So, and I would my last point would be, I would encourage you to look at not simply doing something in a one-time fashion or a small patch, but you should look at the equity of going back, because the longer that 20-year period is, the longer more significantly somebody suffered. So you're doing the same thing now for somebody that retired last year as you do for somebody that 20 years ago. It doesn't address the issue. And I thank you very much for your patience, and I'm sure I'm over my time. I'm never under my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Michael Anderson at 1400 Cadet Lane, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I too am a former county employee, a very proud member of this county for over 22 years as undersheriff and sheriff. I'm kind of wingman for Tom Edmonds today in terms of maybe a little bit more about the data that I would ask you to please consider and reinforce in some ways what he's saying. To me, an important document that I hope every commissioner has an opportunity to see is the 2009. There may be other documents, but for certain, the 2009 budget plan for the county in the employees' retirement section. There is a chronological listing of the COLAs that were given out on a regular basis from 1974 to the year 2001. And you can tell right away it's an equity thing, or an equity system that they utilized, recognizing that somebody's been retired for 15 years ought to receive more than somebody who retired last year. And the data analysis that is required for that has been done by another retiree from the county. And some of you may remember him, Bill Dundon, a former county finance director. He's spent some time and found it relatively easy to actually do the data analysis to figure out what it would cost, for example, a 1% per year for every year that somebody's been retired, 10 years, 15, 20, but at 1% for every year. And that figure came in for last year anyway, about 800,000. What it'd be today, I'm not quite sure. But suffice to say, there are a lot of county employees I too have talked to that are anxiously awaiting and are thankful that you have taken the initiative to look at this issue. And hopefully the result will be forthcoming and it'll be a positive one. But again, thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, a couple things. Thank you, everybody, for running last night and doing as well as everybody did. So good work. Thank you to our clerk for all her hard work and her team's hard work getting through the event and the election and making sure that this was done, very proper here in this county. So again, congratulations to everybody here. My predecessors over here, two men that I've worked for a very long time and I respect dearly, are talking about something that's very important to all of our retirees. And I agree that it is time to make sure that this is adjusted and brought to the right amount. And so I recognize that it's always a dollar decision, but I want you to realize, and I know this from this board, it's not always just a dollar decision. You guys look at the impact and the needs to be addressed. And I think that the work that Tom and Mike have put into this really reflects the dollars and the difference that it'll make if this adjustment's made. So, of course, I would advocate for it, and I'll ask you guys to consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Fuller, and congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
Are there any others who wish to make public comment? All right, seeing none. Dina, do we have any hands raised online?
Chair, there are no hands raised.
I think she said no. Thank you, Dina. All right, so we're moving to interviews for Central County Transportation Authority. Looks like we have 2 interviews. Are they in person or on Zoom?
Chair, they're in person.
Okay. I'll look it up and see if I can see who they are. I'm not logged in yet. Hmm. So we have Kristen Johnson, Curtis Leap, Don Martin withdrew, and then Sarah Harris. So Kristen Johnson, you want to go first? Thank you.
You're welcome so much. Whatever you need, I got you.
All right, thank you so much.
Right there. You can pick it up.
Hello, Kristen, and welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to interview with us tonight. So we have 9 interview questions. Each one of us will introduce ourselves and ask you a question. We'll give you time at the end to ask us questions if you have some, and then we just kind of go from there. Is that okay? All right, my name is Tammy Ray. I represent District 1. And the first question is, what do you know about this advisory board, and why are you interested in serving on it?
Well, looking online at what the advisory board kind of does, I appreciate that it makes recommendations to Metro County Connect or Metro to create policies and procedures that reflect the needs of the people that use that transportation. So, and I'm super motivated to do this because it's kind of a niche thing, a weird thing, but I've spent forever, like 24 years, working for a special education school that uses Metro County Connect a lot, and I work with them daily, and I have seen massive improvements that they have made from back when it was Delta and Caravan until going on and it keeps getting better and better. And I see for our students the impact that being able to use Metro County Connect has for them. And so I'm pretty passionate about them being able to get where they need to be. I don't want anybody to fail because they can't get there. So.
Thank you. Vice Chair, you want to take question 2?
Yeah. I'm John Taylor, District 5. What experience do you have that is related to the work of the advisory board? And this could be professional or experience you have from the community, and you kind of alluded to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I kind of touched on it, and I don't know, it's so strange because transportation in school is such a complicated thing, but I have spent like 24 years working on transportation and getting students where they need to be for community-based instruction or independent work sites. And then after they leave us, to be able to have the skills that they need to use transportation to get places independently so they can live their like fullest, most independent life. So
I'm John Kissler. I represent oh, sorry. Thank you, Dale. You're always on me here. I appreciate it. I'm John Kissler, and I represent 5 of the 15 townships. So Central County Transit is not all that big a deal for us, but on the other hand, you never know where transit's going to evolve. And we certainly do take advantage in the outlying districts of the Metro Connect and now the Metro Link. So I would like to ask you if you'll share what you've learned from working with people from different cultures.
Oh, well, a lot. Different cultures and different abilities is huge. I learn so much from our students every day, and we have a really broad range of all of those things. We have all kinds of different cultures and all different abilities and disabilities, and I learn stuff from them all the time, like every day. And I love that they love that they're able to teach me things, and it's just like it's such a meaningful kind of connection of when we can share something like so I love that so much. It's a fantastic opportunity to learn and connect with other people.
Thank you.
Hi, Kristen. I'm Dale DeLue. What training or education have you received in diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and how will you use what you have learned in your work with this board?
Well, I have been a member of KRESA's ABAR team for 3 years, the anti-bias, anti-racist team, and we have worked on that team to create policies and procedures that are more equitable for students and staff within KRESA. Secondly, I have I worked on with Western Michigan WMU's. It's a diversity cohort that we did to that same end, where we take a look at existing policies, and we focus specifically on the school that I was in to take a look at if the procedures that we are using with students, like the rubrics and the metrics that we use for their progress, are actually equitable. And additionally, I 23 and 24 last year and this year, I worked on an accessibility cohort to address the needs, and this is for staff and students, but really kind of for staff, to make sure that the buildings and meetings and publications are accessible to all people, which addresses both physical barriers and also language barriers. So we have a lot of Spanish speaking families and students. So, and, addressing, how do you best present to deaf people or to blind people, and kind of taking a look at where we stand on that, and then going forward, making recommendations for how we could do better at that.
Hi, I'm Abigail Wheeler. I represent District 4. My question for you is, what do you expect this authority to give back to the community, and how can you help do that work?
Well, I would hope that that it would take input from the community, like what the needs are, what the wants are, and take a look at that and put forward some initiatives to make those things happen. I guess that would be my big expectation.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. I'm Jen Stubbs. I represent District Number 2. So our next question for you is, could you share what are 3 things you think a member of this advisory board should consider when they're making decisions?
I think it's super important for any member of kind of any committee really to consider multiple points of view. My experience is not your experience is not his experience, and to kind of remove yourself to a degree from what, and listen to other voices. And so I would hope that that is a thing that would happen. Secondly, I would hope that they could come up with some initiatives going forward to change things for the better, to better meet the needs of the community at large and maybe address some really kind of specific issues that people are finding barriers to use. And thirdly, I would hope that the initiatives that are put forward are adopted and acted on.
Hello and welcome, Montice Morales, District 3. What is the greatest strength that you will bring to this board?
I have a crazy passion for transportation, and I have this mission that if it's in my control at all on any level, I won't let anybody fail because they can't get there. That's a huge hurdle for so many people that I have seen. Like, you have a job interview, but you can't get there, or you have a job, but you can't get there. So that's a huge deal to people's independence and freedom. So it's pretty important.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. I'm Jeff Epler. I'm Commissioner for District 7, which is Cooper, Richland, Ross, Charleston, parts north of which we don't have a whole lot of transportation. Other than, I have this hard question for you. Are you available for the meeting dates, times associated with this advisory authority?
I am.
All right, and finally, do you have any questions for us?
You do, actually. What do you find to be like the biggest barrier to getting initiatives that come from that advisory committee put into action?
Commissioner Strauss? This is your committee, right?
So sorry, I got distracted. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay.
What was the question? Thank you.
Commissioner Gisler may be able to answer too.
Yeah. Wow. I can. Yeah. What do you find to be like the biggest barrier, the biggest obstacle to getting initiatives that the committee puts forward into action? In what's the biggest barrier to make that happen?
So I'm serving as a liaison for this body. They've implemented a new structure where they have sort of separate subcommittees that are working on different focus areas. They are working on some strategic planning where they've launched new programs like the Metro Link portion of their service. So that's going through a sort of a trial phase right now, just in certain portions of the community. But long term, it's about how to have enough funding to expand sort of the network of public transit. And right now, you probably are familiar, it's designed sort of like a hub and spoke model, which isn't necessarily the most efficient way to get from one side of the community to another. So they're also advancing concepts of looking at other central hubs. And so going through the whole planning and development, and particularly funding, is always the biggest barrier to implementations.
Thank you.
Sorry, I missed your question at first. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me. One of the, I think it's an ongoing issue with transit in the county, and that is that a lot of the people in the county don't know about some of the things that transit has to offer. In my rural territories, people think that you have to be in some way disabled or older than sin, like me, or to take advantage of the Metro County Connect. That's not the case. If your vehicle is down that gets you to work, you can take the Metro County Connect to take you right where you work. It'll cost you a little more than it will somebody who's old or disabled, but it's still available to you. And it never fails to amaze me that so many people have no understanding of what's really available. So I would say that's one of the big challenges. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We
you.
have, I want to say we have 2 more interviews tonight, and then there's 2 additional emails or interviews, I'm sorry. Dina?
Yeah, we actually just had 2 interviews this evening that are in person, both for the urban category. The 2 that we have for the rural category, one has withdrawn the application, and the other one we're still trying to see if we can get them confirmed for an interview date time.
Okay. So once we are all done interviewing Ms. Johnson, we will reach out and let you know either way. I'm sure that's what Terrell just told her too. All right, so our next interview is Mr. Leap. How are you?
Use yell at these people? Okay.
Don't yell at us. Good evening and welcome. My name is Tammy Ray. I represent District 1. Again, we will just utilize the same process as you just saw. We'll all go around, ask you a question, and then we'll give you time at the end to ask us any questions you may have. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So our first question is, what do you know about this authority or this advisory board, and why are you interested in serving on it?
Well, I know very little. I know it's been around since mid 2010 or 14, 15. Regionalized consolidation of transportation. And I've used Metro Connect. So.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair.
What experience do you have that is related to the work of the Advisory Board Authority? This could be professional experience or you have from...
Well, mainly professional, I guess. Professionally, I was involved in information technology, but specifically in, call it whatever you want to, logistics, supply chain. Obviously, transportation is integral to that. So I have a transportation bent professionally from that. Plus, I'm an analyst, so I dig and solve complex issues by making them simple.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, I'm John Gisler. I represent a good portion of the boondocks of the county. And I'd like to know if you can share with us what you've learned from working with people from different cultures.
Well, I was in the United States Air Force. And I was one time deployed to Japan. And I stepped off of a curb with transportation going the wrong direction. And I learned a lot. Don't assume a darn thing.
The hard way.
Don't think you know anything. Get to know people, communicate. Above all, listen and respect.
Thank you.
It's a nice short answer, Mr. Lee. I'm Dale DeLue. And what training or education have you received in diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice? And how will you use what you have learned in your work with this advisory board?
Well, I was in the United States Air Force. Okay. At a time, we learned something very important. Blue. Everything is blue. Okay. And you learn to treat people in a way that is good for the team. Okay. That gets rid of differences because you share something that's real important, the objective and mission of the team. So through it all, the Air Force made it pretty darn important. corporate America. I was in corporate America way back when it was EOP. Now it's DEI, but it's treating people right and doing it in such a way that gets rid of barriers other than abilities. And I think I've learned, but I also know you got to learn every day how to treat people and things right. So I haven't learned yet, but I'm work in progress.
Hi there, I'm
Hi.
Abigail Wheeler. I represent District 4 over here. Hi, we jumped on you. My question for you is, what do you expect this advisory board to give to the community, and how can you help do that work?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm not sure I completely have a good answer. Okay, I sense being reliable, being dependable, being good stewards of taxpayer money, meeting the objectives and needs of the community by understanding them and doing them in a way that's fiscally responsible.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Commissioner Strebs from District 2. So the question I have for you is, what are 3 things that a member of the advisory board should consider when they're making decisions?
I think I heard the answer with the last interview. By the way, you should hire her. The impact to not the impact to you personally of the decision being made, but the impact to those that are the recipients. And you can't understand that impact without kind of walking in that other side's shoes, you know? And that's about the best I can do with that, because that's not an easy question.
Hello there.
Hi.
Commissioner Morales, District 3. What is the greatest strength that you will bring to the advisory board?
How long do you guys have? Just teasing, okay? I am ready, willing, and able. And I listen. I fooled you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Epler. I represent District 7, which is the north part of, was it Boondocks you said? Yes, sir. I'm just asking, Commissioner. Okay, okay. All right. I'm in the north part. But anyway, I got this hard question of, are you available for the meeting dates, times associated with this advisory board?
I can accommodate any need.
Thank you.
And finally, do you have any questions for us?
Just 2. Okay, when do I start? Okay, you guys laughed, so that was good. No, seriously, what does the first day look like? What does the first 30 days look like? 90 a year. As from my side, being a part of this.
I'm getting looked at by my colleagues again. I'm going to do my best with that. So as a liaison, I'm not participating in all of the subcommittee meetings, but I know if you're selected and appointed for the board, you'll have contact with the board chair for the CCTA and the KCTA. They're joint boards that work as one body, but they're appointed as separate entities. So you get oriented to the structure. You'll have an opportunity to review some of the guiding documents and some of the subcommittee options, and then you'll get assigned in 30 days, assigned to a subcommittee, You'll probably meet with that chair and begin to have subcommittee meetings. And then within a year, you will be working on the strategic planning implementation process, the reevaluation of the MetroLink program that's in its trial phase, and then planning for the next budget cycle.
Thank you.
All right, was that the second question?
Yeah, that was, well, the first one was when do I
I was
start?
confused.
Okay, so, no, but you don't have to answer that.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, folks. I really appreciate it and wish you all the best in selecting the right candidate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll reach out to you and let you know either way. We got 3 people. Yeah, 2 people for 1 position.
Oh.
There's only 1 urban position.
Yeah, those are the 2 candidates for that one position.
Correct. Yeah, we could do that. We'll open the floor up for a discussion. Commissioner Strips?
I was trying to be patient
Your
as
finger's on the
always.
button.
Ugh. I'm gonna put a blinder up so you can't see. I mean, they're both great quality candidates and, you know, personal and passionate. Yeah, so I don't have a really strong preference either way. What our first candidate, working directly with the population that utilizes the metro system is a real value. And then, but you know, both of them were really good, and we'd be pleased to have either of them. So that's.
Thank you, Commissioner Strips. Commissioner Gessler?
Thank you, Chair. This is another case where we've got super qualified people and we can't afford to get them both in right now anyway, but I'd want to make sure that we keep whoever we do not choose, stay in touch, because those are big boards and they do have some turnover. So I would hate to think that the person who isn't selected for this opening walks away and says nuts to it. I'd like to keep them available for the next opening because there'll be one soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
Yeah, what I saw in the first candidate was certainly specific to transit and specific to the population that utilizes transit. What I saw in the second candidate is somebody that could serve pretty well on just about any board we have. And I thought he was a great person for just about he was more of a generalist type candidate. And I think he would be a great candidate on a lot of different boards. But as far as the CCTA, I think our Kristen Johnson was the better of the 2.
Commissioner Gessler?
Thanks for humoring me again, Chair. I'd address this to Jen because she attends more of these meetings now than I do. Is Tim Sloan still seated with the CCTA?
Yes, he is.
Because he was, for at least to my estimation, one of the few people with a disability that rides the buses and participates. And, you know, if he's now no longer there, boy, that would sway me very heavily to Kristen's direction. Because I think it's very important to have people that are actually big time users of the system.
Yeah, I'll share. I think there are a couple of members right now with varying disabilities, at least 2 that I'm aware of. But certainly, you know, all sorts of reasons for candidates beyond like a protected class is a good reason to bring them in and that experience. Both of our candidates today, our second candidate did also say he had experience riding Metro Connect, which is that same service for people with disabilities or seniors, or really anybody in the community can use it. But so I forgot to lift that up too. She just had so much more of it, helping those students day to day, get on and off and so forth.
Yeah, motion.
I move that we appoint Kristen Johnson to the CCTA.
All right, whoever said it first, raise your hand. No. All right, moved by
Sorry,
Vice Chair. Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are recommending, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure that this is the recommendation for the formal vote
Correct.
in the formal. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, so the motion carries and we're recommending appointment of Kristen Johnson to the CTA.
Chair,
Yes.
I don't know if this is the time, but it's also recommended we reappoint Greg Rosine. It says it does not require an interview. He's from the city of Kalamazoo.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Thank you.
Okay, do we still interview everybody, right?
The agenda states he does not require an interview.
Oh, okay. Well, we can make that recommendation.
I'll make a motion to appoint Greg Rosine to the CCTA representing the city of Kalamazoo.
All right, moved by Commissioner DeLu, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is interviews for the land bank. I saw Ms. Ferraro in the audience. Welcome. She currently serves on the land bank, so this will be an incumbent interview.
Hello.
Hi. You're welcome to sit too if you like.
Yeah, I think I will.
All right.
I just spent 5 of the 9 days of early voting standing for that and Tuesday.
Oh.
17 hours.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, it was fun in an odd sort of way.
We appreciate you.
So,
all right. So for this board or for incumbents, we only have 6 questions. So we'll go around, ask you 6 questions or 5 questions, and then give you an opportunity to ask us questions.
Okay.
I'm Tammy Ray. I represent District 1. And the first question is, why are you interested in serving for another term with this board?
for the I worked for the city for 20 years as the preservation coordinator, and ever since the land bank was formed, I've been fascinated by the potential that it has for not only saving housing but helping to redevelop the county. I've been following what's happened in Detroit and in other cities, and I think that we're doing an excellent job here in Kalamazoo, and I just want to continue to be involved as we transition from being probably mostly a housing authority to something wider. It's a very powerful tool, I think, that we have to use. We've got a really good team going, and I just look forward to it. I like to be able to inject a little bit of history into some of our deliberations to make sure that people understand that we've done things like this before, but maybe not quite this way. So just help people understand where we've been in the past.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
Share what you have learned from working with people from different cultures, and have you received training in diversity, equity, and inclusion? When
I was working with the city, I went through DEI training there. There's a couple of national organizations that I'm involved with that we've gone through DEI training with that group as well as the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. And I am, even though I'm retired, I'm trying to work out the time to go through the county's DEI programs too, and I haven't done more than a couple of them, so I apologize for that. But I've worked with people. I've lived in the Vine neighborhood all my life. I've worked with people from every cultural background, racial background, religious background throughout my entire life. Been involved with the Vine Neighborhood Association, so I've had a lot of experience working with other people of different backgrounds than me, and I take a great deal of joy from it because I can learn from them, and I hope that they can learn from me, and we can just respect each other's differences and move on to make things work. That's the key thing. So.
You beat Dale to the punch. I'm always forgetting that. I represent 5 of the 15 rural townships. So, we are just now beginning to appreciate that the land bank is something that's county-wide. It's seeming over the recent decade or so to be kind of limited to city, and now it's becoming a little bit better known outside the city. Would you please let me know how you've learned or what you've learned in your work that will suit this advisory board or authority well? I guess it is an authority.
One thing that I've learned from the other commissioners and from the staff at the land bank is the level of compassion there is for the people who live in the county, for the economic trials that we've all gone through since 2008, when, I guess the land bank is 2010 or so it was founded. And how we take the tool, what the land bank offers, and use it to make people's lives better. And one of the things that I have done in the past is done historic surveys in some of the rural parts of the county. And I always really, really enjoy that, getting out there and seeing, what a wonderful place we have. Everything from Waukesha to city of Kalamazoo or Ashtamo it's very different from, we're all different. Anyway, how would I use what I like to use? What I have learned from the land bank is something that I like to communicate to people who don't understand what a land bank is or what we're even trying to do there. And that includes folks from, from out county or folks from right downtown Kalamazoo. I like to help people understand that there are a lot of tools that we use, and there's nobody waving a magic wand and making it all better. But the land bank can be a really good tool for helping to move in a better direction.
Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Ferraro. I'm Dale DeLue, and I appreciate your interest in remaining on the board. But can you tell me, during your time on the advisory board, what has the board accomplished and how did you help?
Well, I've only been on for about 2 years, and I was just looking back over some of my notes for previous, what we've gone through in the process. I've learned a lot that I didn't understand about accounting because that's not my strong suit at all. But I've learned we've taken on the 53 houses that we got, the Homeward Bound project. And so I'm learning more about the houses in Kalamazoo and how we're trying to save those and keep them up. And what that means beyond just, keeping a house up, but what it means to the neighborhood, to the area, to the people who are having a hard time finding housing all over the county, not just in the city of Kalamazoo. I've learned about how the state law works, the new land bank laws that came into effect last summer that allow us to start moving into even more housing projects. No, I'm sorry, I'm on the Brownfield Authority in Kalamazoo too, so sometimes these two get a little bit mixed up for me. I can't say that I helped an awful lot because I consider myself kind of new to the whole process, but I feel like I'm learning every day and support what they do, and I want to be part of continuing to do the work that we do. So.
Hi, my name is Abigail Wheeler. I represent District 4. I'm sure you've helped plenty. Just being here helps, so thank you. And the question that I have is, what is the greatest strength or accomplishment that you have brought or have done while being on this advisory board?
Well, once it was Victorian Bakery for the morning meeting, but I don't think that counts quite the same way. My strength, I think, is my understanding of the breadth of the history of Kalamazoo County from the pre-settler days all the way to the present day, and how much we have worked through that whole time. But I can't say that I have a great accomplishment. But the strength is that I ask the questions that I need to know. If I need to know something, I ask, and that I try to add relevant information whenever I can to what's happening. And every so often I we'll say, let's put the brakes on this a little bit. Let's look at it a little bit more closely. This may not be a direction we really want to go. And then with discussion with the other board authority members, we learn from each other and make the decisions that we need to make. So, and for me, this is kind of a new thing because I went from being a city employee where I didn't really have an opinion. I just had a job. So now I'm at the point where I can go ahead and speak up and I can ask the difficult questions and maybe guide the direction that the group is going.
Great, thank you.
Just want to help with an accomplishment. You served on the subcommittee to hire the director?
Yes, I did. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's an accomplishment.
Okay, there's one. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I'd never been on that side of the hiring process before, so it was absolutely fascinating.
Well, Ms. Ferraro, thanks for being here. I'm Jen Strebs from District 2. So thanks for your time and serving so far with the land bank. So our last one is just if you have any questions for us.
Not really, just ask that you continue to help us evolve and work as the land bank authority to continue to use it for a powerful tool that we have here in the county. So nope, I can't think of anything.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. So Lindy, we have more interviews, correct? One more.
Yes, so you have 2 open positions. You have one more interview that will be on 11/19. The third candidate that y'all had selected for interviews has actually withdrawn their application.
Okay. Commissioner Sharps. Thank you.
Yeah, so to clarify, we have 2 vacancies and 2 applicants. We do need to do the interview for the next applicant, but I wonder, we may just move to reappoint now Ms. Ferraro. So I'd enter that as a motion, recommend the reappointment of Ms. Ferraro to the Land Bank Authority.
I will proudly second that.
Bless you. All right, so it's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion?
Just really quick, the land bank is probably going to be one of a big economic driver in the county with the new changing legislation that's happening. She was absolutely right about the potential there. We've got an opportunity with the people in Kalamazoo County, not just employees, but some of the people that are working for big corporations that happen to live here that are putting together these deals. We're competing with MEDC not having the money as other states. We're competing with Texas and we're competing with Wisconsin because of the deals we're able to put together. And Sharon has been a big part of that. So,
thank you. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of recommending reappointment of Ms. Ferraro, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you all. All right, so we will move to the review of accounts payable and payroll disbursements by our finance director, Ryan Post.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. We have an accounts payable claims list totaling $8,112,568.48 is presented for review. Of this total, the Board of Commissioners asked to approve claims totaling $7,035,554.63. Payroll disbursements totaling $3,962,489.53 are presented for the October 17th special, October 25th general and special, and October 31st elected payrolls. There are no conflicts of interest with dispatching claims, and we welcome any questions.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Director Post. Right along. Excuse me. So next up, we have a presentation by Marathon Health regarding the Employee Health Center.
Yes, Board, thank you. I'd like to call up Greg Howe, Vice President of Client Success for Marathon Health. As you know, with the board support, we engaged in agreement with Marathon, and as promised, we want to keep you engaged with the progress of that agreement, of opportunities, and anything else with that engagement. So with no further ado, Greg, thank you for your thorough yet brief presentation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Rear end needs to go to Marathon Health and get that smaller.
All right. Next slide. Okay. All right. So there's the agenda. So we'll work through the summary, and then I'll walk through the utilization that the health center has seen, the satisfaction, some updates on the health improvements that we've seen, and then some of the financial stewardship, as well as how we're looking at the financial value provided. Next slide. Marathon Health works with public sector employers all over the country. So we do have a lot of benchmarks as well that we follow to make sure that we're tracking as we would expect and appropriate for the members that we're serving. We look at it in 4 different ways. So as we call this our quadruple aim. So first, we want to make sure that we have great care teams, and that's the provider, that's the staff that's providing the lab services, nursing services. When we've got great care teams available, we see people engage with the health centers on a more frequent basis. When we see higher frequency of engagement with the health center teams, we then can see more transformational health outcomes and improve patient results. And then long term, that produces savings because you've got a healthier population with them being able to control chronic conditions or reduce that prevalence of risk. Next slide, please. I can take them throughout. Absolutely.
Chair. So thank you. Just a couple on this slide. So we have 53% of employee engagement. Over a year's time is the benchmark of where you would expect to be with engagement. And then looking at the reduced healthcare costs estimated at $1,600 per employee, are we roughly saving a bit more than $500,000 then?
Yeah.
Because of that, the initial projections were like $1 million a year in savings. So help me, what's the timeline you think we'll get to that? Thank you.
Yeah, so the 53% here benchmark that we have, this is for all of our public sector clients.
Okay.
So it would not include just year one clients. We typically would not see a 53% in year one.
Okay.
And then the $1,600 in annual savings per engaged employee, we'll take a look at that at the end of the 2024 plan year. So we'll probably have that analysis complete, I would guess sometime in February, early March, after the claims run out has been completed for the 2024 plan year. All right, so on the summary. So Kalamazoo County, how have we performed in engagement in year one? So we have 28% of employees currently engaged in the health center. When I say engaged, I mean they have scheduled and completed an appointment with our provider there at the health center. That makes up 300, and then we've had 375 unique members use the health center as well. So some of those multiple times. On the health outcomes, we have 67% of the population that is actually making progress, measurable progress on biometric risk factors. So I'll go into more detail on this, but they've actually moved either like their blood pressure or triglyceride in the positive direction to remove risk. And then we also look at the risk profiles of the patients and our eligible members. And we have a higher percentage of members engaged that have a high risk or a chronic condition. This is important. Obviously, those individuals might require more healthcare needs or on medications and some additional health management. So that's certainly the population that we want to be supporting through our primary care needs or primary care services. And then member satisfaction. So NPS is Net Promoter Score. This is on a scale of 100 to -100. It's a widely accepted satisfaction score of would you recommend this service to others? And so of members that have completed the survey, we've scored an 87. And then on the satisfaction from very unsatisfied to very satisfied,
99% of people that have completed the survey after an appointment have reported either satisfied or very satisfied. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, stay here. Already there. Thanks. I wanted to share just a patient success story, because right here I have a lot of aggregate data that I'm going to be providing, but it still comes down to that patient-provider relationship and the importance there. And I think this story just it talks a lot about how we're able to utilize that relationship to really accelerate some results for these individuals. So this patient first visited the health center back in November 2023. So shortly after we opened for an acute issue. After following that appointment, they ended up switching over to primary care. They changed their provider over to Marathon Health. This patient had a history of lots of risk factors and chronic conditions, hypertension. You can see through here, obesity as well. The patient was in a position where they were ready to make some changes, and they wanted the support and guidance on how to best do that. And so our provider worked with the individual to adjust some medications, some counseling as well to just help up with their mental health. And this patient has had remarkable success. Their BMI is now down to 30, which is a reduced class from obesity to overweight. They've got controlled blood pressure, and they've reduced all their lipid scores. They're now in the process of moving them off medications because this patient has lost enough weight and improved their scores through lifestyle and medication management. And I think overall, I love the last sentence there. The patient reports being happier. I think a lot of that, health does prevent happiness or makes it harder to do so many things. So just a great story here of one of the patients that's had success with the health center. Moving forward to engagement. And so here on the top left, you'll see our engagement curve. So you can see from the time we've opened the health center to current, we continue to see that increase month over month, tracking about 1% to 2% each month. So we're continuing that positive trajectory. And then the other groups there, we have it broken out by employees, spouse, and dependents. So we certainly have a much higher engagement with the employees, as we would expect, but we are starting to engage more spouses and dependents as well. And then this is looking at the actual volume within the health center. So the number of appointments. So you can see there at the beginning, we started off a bit slower. And then really in February, we started to hit the ground running. We saw large volume increases. We had worked with the HR department to change up some of our marketing, campaigning efforts, and really putting out more communications. And we saw some big increases on the month over month volume there. Expecting that to continue. Through September, we've had 972 total appointments that have been checked out by the provider at the health center. Moving forward to member satisfaction. So as I mentioned, making sure that patients have a great experience is critical to making sure that they're coming back into the health center and transitioning more of their care here. And so as I mentioned in the executive summary, we have 98.9% overall satisfaction. And we have a nearly 19% survey completion rate. Our benchmark that we see across all of our health centers is 15%. So we are seeing a slightly higher survey completion rate for patients as well. And then what's really important is making sure that people can get care when they need that care as well. So able to schedule at preferred time, 99%, and then reducing that time in waiting rooms. We've probably all been there before where you've sat in a waiting room for 30 minutes. You then might be taken back to the provider's room and you're waiting another 10 or 20 minutes. Here, our goal is to get people in, make sure that they're seen in a quick manner and treated and provided what they need, and not sacrificing that quality of care as well. I won't read through all of these comments, but I did want to just capture a couple. This is just the free text option that's available with the surveys. There were really a few different themes that came out. One, the convenient access. So we've seen a lot of people that have registered in our portal, which allows them to self-schedule. So you could hop onto your portal app, you can schedule right there and be seen up to an hour later. See a couple comments in there. And then the quality of care. I always think it's a testament when the patient calls out the provider and the care team by name. You'll see a few of those and just how they believe that that care has been different than what they've received prior. And then, of course, we do get some constructive comments as well. So always looking to improve and make sure that that service stays top quality. And 2 comments in there. And recently, we've been able to make some improvements on our portal as well when people submit their insurance and that information so that they don't have to do it time after time when they come back in through the health center. So just even small improvements can make a difference. So health outcomes are really wanting to make sure that not only are people satisfied with the care, that's great. We want to make sure that they're having a great experience, but ultimately what we want to do is improve health. And so this is really where we take a deeper look of what is the risk profile. So knowing that we can serve Kalamazoo County employees and their families, we want to best understand the population health of that group so that we know how to support them best. And so what we do through analysis, through the patient data that they and the visit data that they have, we can stratify the different types of risks. So on the left there, you have our first level of stratification. And then on the right, the one that I'd like to focus on is our stratification 2. So we take that top group of high and chronic, high risk, or patients that have chronic condition, and then we take a further look into that. And so what we've seen is 25% of that population is polychronic, meaning they have multiple chronic conditions that they're managing. 65% single chronic, and then we have 9.5% that have a high biometric risk. This means they have not been diagnosed with a condition, so they have not been diagnosed with diabetes or cholesterol, but they have had a lab. They have had labs that indicate they are at risk for developing that in the near future. The one item here that is a big focus for us moving forward is the low and unknown risk. So that big light blue bar at 55%. So this is a group of the population that we do not know the risk. And so there is likely a lot of undiagnosed chronic conditions and or risk that we have the opportunity to help support those patients with. Patients making progress on biometric risk. So this is what I had mentioned in the executive summary. So out of all the patients that have come into the health center and where we've had a chance to take 2 measurements, time 1 and time 2, to see did they actually improve on their health. And what's great is we've seen that 67% make some level of progress on reducing those risk factors. So for example, you might have somebody that comes in with an elevated A1C and pre-diabetic. If we can get in front of that and help them manage that to bring it back down to a normal level, we may be able to prevent that individual from developing diabetes and having to use medications in the future. And if we move forward to savings analysis. So as I mentioned, we will do further analysis upon the end of the 2024 plan year, but we did want to provide some level of visual on how we can look at some additional savings opportunity here. So this first one is chronic condition management. Chronic conditions can be very expensive and costly due to the care. Sometimes they require outpatient or unexpected care that might be needed. As well as the medications. So for each condition where we're able to help move somebody to a lower risk or prevention of that results in cost avoidance or potential cost savings. And so you can see blood pressure, weight management, and diabetes. And then we have additional members within those conditions that we have not yet seen make the noticeable improvement, which could potentially be up to a $200,000 additional savings of helping those individuals manage those conditions. So here we do a little bit deeper of a look on non-claims methodology of finances here. So a traditional office visit is 9.7 minutes with a provider. In our model, the average actual appointment time is 32.6 minutes with that provider. So not in the waiting room, not with the nurse, but actually with the provider. And so a 9.7 minute exam would typically cost about $137. And so if you extrapolated that for a marathon visit, that value would be about $460 per appointment. We see that extra time as extremely valuable. And again, not only developing that relationship, but making sure that we have time to go through and educate the patient. What does it mean to be on a hypertension medication? What are some lifestyle changes that you could make to help assist with that? Same day, next day availability. We know that urgent care and ER visits are oftentimes unnecessary and costly. And so by having same day access available, we know that we can prevent people from having to utilize those resources when not necessarily needed. And it's something that can be handled at our health center. And so we've been able to keep that same day appointment availability throughout our opening, and we'll continue to do so, resulting in some cost avoidance of that ER and urgent care. And then the last piece here is referrals, working with specialist visits. As soon as you work with a specialist, those costs often are going to rise. As part of the service we offer, we have a referral coordinator team. So our providers are able to work with our referral coordination team to provide patients with choice that takes into consideration both cost and quality, also causing the plan to have less experience with some of those costly specialist visits and avoid some of those specialist visits in the first place. So a lot of data there. Thank you for hanging with me on some of that financial analysis. The last slide, if you'll move forward, is where do we go next? There's a lot of opportunity because, again, we're just right at 28% employee engagement. There's a lot of members out there that we still have not engaged with and that we've got an opportunity with. So some strategies that we've been working on with how do we continue to increase engagement in 2025. Marathon Health's wellness, our portal also has a robust wellness platform. And so offering wellness challenges and things that promote positive lifestyle behaviors, while also encouraging people to come in to schedule preventive visits. We have on-site events scheduled. One of our most successful events of 2024 was on-site biometric screenings. Within 1 month, we had 60 people complete a biometric screening, some for the first time, that helped us identify those risks. So that's something that we're going to continue again going forward. And then monthly health promotions via email. And we also rolled out some technology improvements that will allow us to do some SMS or text messaging marketing, which across our book of business shows is a higher conversion rate of people actually scheduling an appointment following that than emails. So we're excited to launch that here in 2025 as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Gissler.
Thank you, Chair. I guess it was a year and a half ago, maybe, when I had a chance to tour your facility, and I asked administration if that marathon plan would cover other jurisdictions besides just the county employees, and was told, yeah, the more the merrier. So I took a sort of a weak, feeble effort at letting my townships and villages and whatever know, and I don't think anybody's taken advantage of it yet. Is that a correct assessment on my part?
Yeah, we don't have any other townships. We are currently contracting with a private employer right now, so it's kind of in the final stages of contracting, and we'll be adding a large employer here in Kalamazoo to the network. So we're very excited about that.
So there's no reason I could not take the brochure. I think you had a little folder or something
Yeah.
that I took around to the rural townships and said, hey, guys, when you get ready to sit down and put together your benefits for your employees, you might want to consider this. And that was the extent of it. I think now that you guys are up and running and you've got this kind of information available, saying, okay, they're the new game in town, but they've got a year under their belt and here are the results. Now do you want to take a look at it?
Yeah,
that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to treat as many members within the community as possible and work with those employers. We feel that we've got a great model that helps, provide great experience and save both members and employers money.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Strauss.
Yeah, there are different, the funding plan, if it's a self-insured plan versus a fully insured plan, we're certainly happy to speak with both types of employers that have those planning, but there may be different payment models depending on how they have their insurance packages set up.
Commissioner Strauss.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple questions, the referral coordinator process. Can you clarify, do you have any contractual relationships with any of the referring specialists who are receiving payment for making referral to any particular providers?
Yeah, great question. We do not. We are completely independent. So we use a full analysis of all of local providers and using cost and quality measures, and then provide the patient with options that are most convenient for them.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The engagement strategies, I just wanted to elevate the concept, or maybe it's in consideration or would be future. You mentioned some of the maybe app or text communications, but has there been an exploration, or have you utilized any sort of like a reward program or points program with employees? If they do engage, they then earn credits or points that either are utilized in some way with financial incentive through county administration, or some other goods and service. I don't know, something. My employer has a program similar to that. When you engage with the preventative biometric stuff with a health plan, then you earn options to get an exercise bike if you do enough of it or whatever.
We see a lot of success with that. The county does have an incentive program available to employees today for additional time, additional leave, 8 hours of additional leave for completing what we call our 3 steps to wellness. So they complete a health risk assessment, they complete a biometric screening, and then they complete an annual physical. I don't have the numbers with me, but we did see quite a bit of participation in that and members achieving it.
And one last question you might not be able to answer, but if we could get follow-up. I'm wondering about just some of the general demographics of the employees who are engaging. Are they longer-term employees, younger employees? And are there maybe then from that data different strategies that will help engage more of them?
Yeah, I think Commissioner Stubbs hit the nail on the head there. There's so much potential here. It's getting the employees to engage, and part of that might be on our end, too, to try to advertise to get our employees to utilize the service. But it's certainly a cost savings. I could debate you on the exact numbers of this, but there's certainly cost savings from the county. It's getting them through the door. And I think having more people within the community, more organizations with the community, just with word of mouth, might help accelerate that trend. So thank you for the work that you've done. But we've got more work to do on this. I see potential. It's just we've got to get people through the door.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hall.
Thank you.
So our next agenda item is a resolution to establish vacancy protocol for road commissioners of Kalamazoo County. Would anyone like to read this? Corporate Counsel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, first of all, I'd like to apologize that the resolution that you have in your package is an earlier draft. And I will have the correct one for you for when you do vote on this. But if I may just go through the resolution quickly, what this does is simply concretizes the process and custom and practice that is already in place. It's never been codified how to replace a vacancy when it occurs on the board of county commissioners. It also requires that when the board becomes aware of an impending vacancy, that it notifies within 2 weeks of within 2 weeks of receiving permanent notice that this is in effect will take place, that you are to receive that notice. And then within 30 days, and within 90 days of that, this body has to make an appointment in order to replace the vacancy that was created on the road commission board. And I do apologize that, but I do have the correct version, and that will be available.
I believe we have the correct version in our and civic clerk. Just the
And
one that's printed out is not the latest version. So if anyone would like to read it, it may be some things that folks like to discuss. Any volunteers? Okay, thank you, Commissioner Wheeler.
You're welcome. Resolution to establish vacancy protocol for road commissioners of Kalamazoo County. Whereas MCL 224.64 provides in relevant part that in a county under this subsection, the County Board of Commissioners, by a majority of its members elected, may appoint the county road commissioners. And whereas the Kalamazoo County Board of Supervisors, I'm assuming that means commissioners, approved the creation of the Kalamazoo County Board of Road Commissioners in 1909, and then appointed the first commissioners on April 30th, 1909. And whereas the process for appointment of the county's road commissioners by the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners was reaffirmed by the board on August 15th, 2023. And whereas due to the jurisdiction of the Board of Road Commissioners, it has been custom and practice that only one member serving shall be a resident of a city within Kalamazoo County. Now therefore be it resolved that the 5 commissioners appointed by the Board of Road Commissioners in one and only one shall reside within the limits of the city within Kalamazoo County during any term. And be it further resolved that if during their term a road commissioner shall relocate, the Board of Commissioners shall be notified within 2 weeks of establishing primary residency outside of their jurisdictional appointment. And be it further resolved that the relocated commissioner shall serve in their full capacity until such time as an appointment is made by the Board of Commissioners to fill the vacancy. And be it further resolved that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners shall make such appointment within 90 days of the notice of vacancy. And be it further resolved that the Board of Road Commissioners is hereby directed to amend its bylaws to reflect and include the adoption of this resolution. And be it finally resolved that the county clerk is hereby directed to provide this resolution to the road commissioners of Kalamazoo County.
Support.
I don't think.
No, I don't need a support.
Yeah.
I was just reading through it.
Thank you for reading. Is there any discussion on it? Commissioner Shrebs and then Commissioner Morales. Or you can go first, Commissioner Morales.
Thank you for yielding. Thank you, Chair. So I'm okay with the change. I have some concerns. Not only on the road commission have we faced folks not reporting or reporting, and people that know that they are no longer able to serve, allowing them to serve, or just plain not reporting. What is the penalty for that? We don't have anything in place for if you don't serve while you're getting paid. And I know before I came on this board, there was an issue with District 2 with someone not living where they were supposed to be living, but still receiving commissioner pay, not coming. And don't quote me, maybe not attending the meetings as well while they weren't living in that district. And so when we talk about taxpayers' money, right, and them trusting us with who we appoint and who they elect, once we get past the point, okay, you're not there, but how do we recoup moving forward taxpayers' money for folks who are just plain not being honest, or if they report it to me and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it, just serve out your term. Like, does that have to, there needs to be some, if we're going to do that, there needs to be something in place for that too. If we're not going to follow the 30-day appointment. I know we do have something in place on our board level, you know, in 30 days, we have a special election or whatever it is. So I just want consistency across the board with that. And to be fair with our taxpayers' money, because they make a nice little penny too, even though it doesn't come out of our budget. And we raised their salary, what was that, a year or two ago, to about 10K. So just for the integrity of that board, we've been going through things with DEI issues, you know. Congratulations to Joanna, who just retired. We've just been going through so much with the road commission that I need some equity across the board with how we're going to deal with this, and some consistency, so that as we're looking for diverse populations to want to serve, that they want to serve on something where they can have some integrity and serve me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. I agree with that. So is there, we can revise this, correct?
Madam Chair, I would recommend that actually be a separate resolution, as that it deals with the per diem issue and matter. And so I'd need some time to research that, but just on its face right now, I believe that should be a separate matter.
Yeah, okay, and that's fine, but she said two things in that. The first thing was, who do they need to report it to? That's not specified. It does say to the Board of Commissioners, but who is that? The county administrator? Is that, because in like the example that she's referring to, somebody reported it to a commissioner on the board who didn't report it to the board, and now we're a year later and it wasn't reported, right? So who specifically, and can we put that in the resolution, either to the county administrator or to the board chair in writing? Like, what does it need to look like? Because we can't just be like, oh, well, I told Commissioner Gisler 2 years ago and he just didn't tell anybody.
Yes, ma'am, we can, I'm sorry, thank you, Madam Chair. We can definitely modify the resolution over, if you just give us a little bit of time to include that information. And it's this body's, whichever this body's flavor is, for whether it's the chair or the county administrator, we can write that.
Is there a preference before we move to Commissioner Stubbs's comment? Commissioner Morales?
I think there should just be, when whoever we appoint within their packet, to have information, hey, you need to email this, and then it gets passed on. I don't think they should have to email each commissioner, but maybe the county, email the county administrator, and then he'll pass it on, because we know he'll pass it on to, or they will, whoever's in that position will pass it on. So I would have that included in the literature upon them being appointed.
So for resolution purposes, notify the county administrator.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Stubbs.
Thank you, Chair. And my question is on a similar line to Commissioner Morales about what mechanisms we have for enforcement if there is not adherence to the resolution. So if a commissioner is a road commissioner is aware they are no longer within their residency, but they do not report it. I guess my inquiry here, it looks like we're exercising authority to direct them to revise their bylaws. And so that would be their then guiding document. What within their bylaws dictates a requirement to adhere to the direction?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And this way, has that it being part of their bylaws, they have notice also. Thank you.
And so, thank you, Council. And so if it would simply then be just a code of ethics sort of violation if a member did not adhere to the direction in the bylaw, and is there, like, do we have a mechanism to compel them to adhere, or if they just don't, they still remain in appointment, and we would just address the per diem as the consequence potentially through another resolution, or is there another mechanism? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. every member of the board, as you are aware, is bound by the county's ethics rules and conflict of interest. However, I would ask for some time just to research that point and what needs to be done to enforce that, whether that's a criminal penalty or a civil penalty or something like that. But I would like to perform proper due diligence before answering that question.
Vice Chair?
I think to just kind of elaborate on Commissioner Streb's question, do we have the authority within our own body, if we do find out and they didn't report and any of this happened, do we have the authority to remove? And that's kind of the question that I have, because that would be the appropriate penalty. I don't want to go after somebody civilly or criminally for a couple $1,000s. I want the system to work, and I would like the ability to remove. That would be more important to me than a civil infraction or something like that along those lines.
Thank you, sir. We will definitely include that in our report or resolution. Thank you.
Commissioner Gessler.
Thank you, Chair. I find myself in strange territory, pretty much agreeing with Jen and Monteith. That is strange for me. But I would also say we did have that issue that you referred to of a county commissioner not living in the district to which they were elected. And I did get some email from, wasn't a constituent of mine, I guess it's a county constituent. It's actually Dave Buskirk, who lived in that district, and said, hey, you know, they're collecting money. They're getting a paycheck every month. I think that ought to be somehow addressed. And I don't know if we ever addressed that or not. So this is moving it from the road commission to county commission. And maybe we should be taking a look at that. This just is triggering that thought in my mind. And I'm here to keep Lou fully employed. So
Also, it probably should include villages too, because villages have their own separate road money. So it's not just cities. That I think do incorporate the spirit of it, because villages do their own roads. I think that they wanted it to the township so that, I mean, I don't know, it's up to this board, but I think villages have their own road commission, so they would fall, or their own village road group, so they would fall under the same thing. $151, that's what it is.
Any other discussion? So I do also have a concern, I guess, about the 90-day. When we talk about like commissioners, if we're outside of our district, we don't have 90 days to report it or any of those things. We have 30 days to, or we have to, you know, and the board has to fill the vacancy. I think 90 days is a long time. I think that we can fill the vacancy within 30 days. And for me, as we talk about the compensation for that particular commission, is not the same as some of our other committees and boards where folks are receiving $35. Again, they're receiving a lot more than that. So I think that we should kind of move a little bit quicker than just allowing somebody to serve the rest of their term if we can't appoint somebody quick enough. Because what if their term is 2 years? And then we have somebody ineligible sitting there for 2 years. Commissioner Wheeler and then Commissioner Strebs.
I agree. I think we can move faster than 90 days. The only thing that I'm concerned about is noticing for having an open position. It might need to be more than 30 days, maybe 45 days. I would just maybe confer with administration on what they would need to be able to put it out there to get applicants. So that way we're not like super pushing the timeline. But I agree. I think we can move faster in 90 days.
Commissioner Strebs.
So in that same regard, that usually we would post the availability up for 30 days, and then we need time to review and make the appointment. So 30 might be tight if we're going to open it for the community to be able to apply.
Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. But with that, we are removing that individual. So it's going to be a vacancy, correct? They don't just get to sit there for 30 to 45 to 90 days. That individual will be removed. I'm sorry? No, but I'm saying in our changes, let me recommend that that individual cannot sit there while they're not in their district when we find out that they will be immediately removed. And then we, just like if somebody quit their job or got fired, like they're not in that position. So I would advocate that that person is removed and then we post it and go through, you know, our appointments. But I don't think someone should be able to serve in that capacity if they're not in their district. So I would support immediate removal and then posting upon notice, and that may take that 30 days. But I don't think we need more than that, and we should treat it just as if we were hiring an employee.
Madam Chair, may I through the chair to Commissioner Morales, in terms of a voluntary departure, in terms of a voluntary departure from a board, so if when the person submits that I'm moving, I can no longer serve on this board, you would like the vacancy to be created immediately at that point and to remove the language that they so serve until an appointment is made. Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Vice Chair?
While we're on it, I think this is a good time to bring it up when it's not going to be super popular. But we did give them the road commission a raise 2 years ago, and they have to do it every so many years, regardless of who's on that road commission or not. I do think that we need to put a 3% or a 5% or whatever we do other employees, a cost of living increase onto their salaries each and every single term, because I mean, how we feel about, I'm not really happy with the road commission as it relates to the DEI issues that we were dealing with. But that's, I hate using the word irregardless, but but it's the situation and the structure, and I think we should be putting a 3 to 5% or whatever non-union employees are getting to that board each and every year.
Question. We don't control their salary, right? So the way it was 2 years ago, I thought they brought a recommendation to us and we just say yes or no.
No, technically we have to give them authority to raise their salaries. So they don't, even if they wanted to give themselves a 3%, they can't do it without our, since they're a board created under us. I'm just saying create some sort of process that attaches it to, I mean, they have the luxury of not deciding their own salaries, I guess is the best way to put that. But to have something in place that they can get a COLA or whatever it is, or whoever's on that board each and every year, I think will be not only provide fairness to it, but it'll also make it probably a little more attractive to recruiting candidates.
Sounds great. My question would be, do we know if their budget can sustain that? So should that come from them instead of us having that conversation?
It can't really come from them. It has to come from us. They can bring a recommendation to us again, which they more than likely they probably will if we don't act on it. But I think it should be a 3 to 5% increase for their commission salaries. I mean, there's 5 of them. You're talking about a couple $1,000 in a $40 million budget. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. That won't even be a drop in the bucket of their contingency, I'm assuming. But it's more of a sort of a philosophical, ethical sort of thing.
Commissioner Sheriff.
Thank you. I'm not in disagreement with the spirit from Vice Chair Taylor. I think pay equity and ongoing advances are important. But to Chair Ray's point, they may have other priorities as their board that they have decided they want to utilize their funds. So I guess the question for research, if we approve, they have the ability to give them a 4% raise. Do they have to enact that raise, or they just have that authority to at what point they could do it the next year or whatever? So I guess that's what I would be curious about. We could give them the okay, but they could still determine their budget doesn't support it and not move it forward.
Any other discussion on the resolution?
Madam Chair, just one point of clarity. I heard 30 days and I also heard 45 days. Was there a general consensus as to? 30 days. Thank you very much.
And when you say 30 days, are you referring to for us to fill the position?
Yes.
Okay. So if they're vacating immediately and we need 30 days to post it, we can do the 45 or 60 days, whatever is reasonable.
Yeah, I think the scheduling, they're gonna come to one of our scheduled meetings.
We'll say 60.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Yep. Any other discussion before we move forward? All right, seeing none, we will have a revised resolution at our next meeting for, again, a first reading. All right, so moving along, we have a proclamation honoring the memory of Jeff. How do I say the last name, Sheriff Fuller? You know how to say the last name?
Reichertz.
Reichertz, and recognizing his contributions to Kalamazoo County, the first reading. So the family's not here tonight, so we don't have to do the first reading, but they will be here at our next meeting if someone would like to read it at that time. So next on our agenda is a proclamation honoring James Kratz as an Eagle Scout recipient. It's also a first reading that we don't have to do tonight. And then next is a proclamation declaring November 17th through the 23rd, 2024 National Apprenticeship Week. And this is the one that they like for us to approve tonight at 7. Okay. So if someone would like to, do we need to read it or no? Okay. All right, we won't read that one either. All right, so is there a motion for closed session?
Chair, I would make the motion if you'll allow. There are two motions here, so don't run away after I read the first one. I move that we enter into closed session to meet with our attorneys regarding the legal opinion regarding retiree health insurance dated November 1st, 2024, pursuant to MCL 15.268H and MCL 15.2431.
Moved by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner Strauss. We need to do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Stubbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales. Chair Ray. 8 yes.
Yes. So the second motion, I move that we enter into closed session to meet with our attorneys regarding the legal opinion regarding the purchase of 3630 East Cork Street dated November 6, 2024, pursuant to MCL 15.268H and MCL 15.2431.
Supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales, Chair Ray, Commissioner Stubbs.
Yes.
8 yes.
I did do some research on that. Recess 5 to 10 minutes, go to the bathroom, adjourn, you have to go along, take care of some other things. I did research.
My bladder thanks you, Lou.
Turn your mic off, John.
I make a motion to approve the closed session minutes of the second closed session.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Now, without objection, we are adjourned. I also want to, so in the past, when we had two closed sessions, we go in with one motion. So do we just put them together? Like, I don't know what that was. It's too much work. All right, we're gonna call to order the November 6, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting. First item on the agenda is invocation reflection. Commissioner Strebs, it says Commissioner Morales, but we'll let you take it. She's not here, so take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm just gonna have a sit and reflect for a minute. So we came through an election yesterday, and congratulations to my colleagues here on the board, our countywide electeds as well, who will continue forward. I just want to talk to the community briefly. There are many constituents in my district and across Kalamazoo County who are gravely concerned with the outcome of the federal election. And there are constituents in this community who are pleased with that outcome. I just wanted to speak to some of those anxieties and worries that many of us are working through and experiencing at this time. And thankfully today, as despondent as I felt, I had the opportunity to come here and work with my colleagues and colleagues on both sides of the aisle being involved in the business of the people today. And what I want to reassure the community about is that that business continues, that Kalamazoo is our community. It is the community that we built together. We decide the direction of our lives here locally. We work together to demonstrate our values. Thankfully, I had the opportunity to have lunch with one of our colleagues today, and that conversation put me at great ease to understand that that work doesn't change, and we know it doesn't, that we work together to find ways to accomplish the will of the people here, and that the residents of our county can be assured that we commit to that work, that we are here for that work, that you are not alone, and that your local government is working for you to make your life better. And we will challenge and be reflected on that. And I'm going to play then, I'm going to read a brief poem, and I'm going to play just a short song. It's about 1 minute and 30 seconds long. But so we understand the lyrics of that. This is a folk song by Pete Seeger. It says, step by step, the longest march can be won. It can be won. Many stones can form an arch, but singly none, singly none. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none.
Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will accomplish still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Strebs. Thank you, Commissioner Strips. All right, next item on the agenda is roll call.
Commissioner Gisler,
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Here.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales, Chair Ray, Commissioner Strips,
Present.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Here.
Commissioner DeLu.
Here.
You have 7 present.
Thank you. Item number 4 for acclamations, we have 2024-1285. I'll entertain a motion declaring November 17th through the 23rd, 2024 National Apprenticeship Week.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. And next we have item number 5, communications. We have an email from Dave Buskirk concerning commissioners' pay scales. And then we have a notification from Eagle informing the community of retesting for PFAS at the Cork Street landfill. An email from Rich Madison regarding the chair sitting during the pledge, as well as the board pay increases. He also said that the audio is muted when the pledge is done. Is that true and accurate?
It's just dependent on if anyone happens to turn on their mics.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe whoever is saying it, maybe leave their mic on.
Oh, okay. And then next we have Livingston County resolution to monitor and document contracts between illegal immigrants and the Livingston County Sheriff's Office. And then Livingston County resolution opposing Michigan Senate Bills 875, 876, and 877. Are there any communications that any commissioners would like to share at this time? All right, seeing none, moving to item number 6, I will entertain a motion to approve the October 15th Committee of the Whole and regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Support.
Motion by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Excuse me. Moving down to item number 7, approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written if there isn't any additions, deletions, or changes.
Matt,
Yes.
just the 2 items in regards to the retiree health care as well as the transitional housing need to be voted on during new business. Thank you.
So we'll add those items to new business. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the 2 additions.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the correction or the additions. Support.
Moved by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. We will now be entering public comments. This session is intended for the public only. Public comment is a time for commissioners to hear from the public. During this time, anyone may address the board on any topic. If you would like to address the board, please come to the podium. Please state your name and tell us where you're from. And please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. An audio timer will sound when your time is up. This is a time to provide input in a professional and respectful manner.
My name is Sharon Carlson. I'll keep this very brief. I live at 430 Elm Street. I'm in District 1. Kalamazoo County. I'm also a member of the America 250 Michigan Committee. I want to thank the Commission for expanding on and clarifying the proclamation that was made on July 2nd. This is part of your consent agenda. This is a wonderful recognition of what we anticipate will be several years of special events and activities. And of course, the next phase involves establishing a committee comprised of broad representation from historic, governmental, business, and other community advocates and stakeholders that will allow us to pursue collaborative programming. And it will also allow us to go after financial support. We're becoming aware that there will be funds that will be made available by the state of Michigan. So we're very excited about this development and the possibilities ahead. I have been working on a list of people who have expressed an interest in being part of this, and should this be a successful, passage tonight, if the commissioners are interested in that list, I would love to share that list. So thank you for continuing this. We're very excited.
Thank you, Sharon. We are very interested in that list. Are there any others who wish to make public comment at this time?
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Adrienne Zaya. I'm Director of Public Policy and Advocacy with YWCA Kalamazoo. I will also be very brief this evening. I want to thank our County Commission for their continued partnership with YWCA Kalamazoo in improving health equity in our community through the Reproductive Health Fund. And we look forward to continued conversations, one of which this evening around the approval of contract for services with the county for the Reproductive Health Fund. We appreciate all the work that you do, and thanks for that continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne. Are there any others who wish to make public comment at this time? Seeing none, we will look online. I don't see any hands raised. So we will move right along to item number 9, the consent agenda items. Commissioner Stubbs, would you like to take us through that?
Thank you, Chair. Under Board of Commissioners, we have a request for approval of 1-year 7 funding addendum to the services agreement with Kalamazoo County Defender Incorporated for the Kalamazoo County Indigent Defense Program, and 2, to authorize the board chair to sign the agreement. Request for the review and approval of Partners for Reentry Opportunities in Workforce Development, or PROUD, Michigan Citizens Reentry Initiative expansion. Request for approval of appointment to the Older Adult Services Advisory Council, or OSAC. Request for approval of appointment to the Animal Services and Advisory Board. Resolution establishing the Kalamazoo County Semi-Quincentennial Committee. Thank you. Under Circuit Court, request for approval of grant agreement with the State Court Administrative Office Drug Court Grant Program to assist in funding the Ninth Circuit Court Men's Drug Treatment Court Program, and for the Circuit Court Administrator Chad Kewish to serve as the authorizing official for the contract in the state of Michigan's DocuSign system. Request for approval of grant agreement with the State Court Administrative Office Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, and with the Circuit Court Administrator Chad Kewish to serve as the authorizing official for the contract in the state of Michigan's DocuSign system. Under Finance, recommendation for the approval of accounts payable and payroll disbursements. Request for approval of the Roque USA lease for MSU extension. Request for approval of various budget adjustments and transfers, housekeeping. Request for approval of the 2024 year-end salary pool adjustments and transfers. Health and Community Services. We have a request for approval and signature of contract amendment number 3 with Senior Services Incorporated doing business as Milestone Senior Services. Request for approval and signature of Child Adolescent Health Center Amendment number 1 with Kalamazoo Public School District. Under Human Resources, request for approval of changes to Personnel Policy 4.03, compensation for holidays. Request for approval of changes to Personnel Policy 5.03 for paid leave. Request for approval of changes to Personnel Policy 5.04 for other leaves of absence. Request for approval of changes to Personnel Policy 5.12, health insurance benefits for retirees. Request for approval and signature of the Administrative Services Contract and Stop Loss Exhibit between Kalamazoo County and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Request for approval and signature of agreement with Municipal Employees Retirement System. Under the Planning Department, request for approval of bylaws for the Materials Management Planning Committee. Request for approval and signature of Aerial Imagery Flight 2025 contract agreement with Wolpert Incorporated, Pictometry International Corp. Through the Sheriff's Office, Request for approval and signature of a contract between Roke USA Incorporated and the Kalamazoo County Sheriff, Sheriff Community Corrections. Request for approval of appointments to the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Request for approval of and signature a police protection agreement with Ashtamo Township. I move all of those items be considered at one time as our consent agenda.
Support.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Shrebs. It's been moved by Commissioner Shrebs, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner DeLue,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Yes. Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales. Yes. Chair Ray. Yes. Commissioner Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Item number 10, unfinished business and general orders. We have none. Item number 11, I will entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the County of Kalamazoo and the YWCA of Kalamazoo. Moved by Commissioner Morales, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the next, we have a motion from Commissioner DeLue.
Yes, I move to authorize County Labor Council to contact Mr. Hanold to discuss possible settlement of his claim related to retiree healthcare as directed.
Moved by Commissioner DeLue, supported by Commissioner Morales. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Second motion, Commissioner Wheeler. Oh, sorry. Commissioner DeLue.
I move that the housing director is hereby directed to continue negotiations towards securing the site to be utilized for transitional housing.
Moved by Commissioner DeLue, supported by Commissioner Morales. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. All right, so item number 12, we will now be entering public comment time. This session is intended for the public only. Public comment is a time for commissioners to hear from the public. During this time, anyone may address the board on any topic. If you would like to address the board, please come to the podium. Please state your name, tell us where you are from. You'll have 3 minutes for your remarks. A timer will sound when your time is up, and this is a time to provide input in a professional, respectful manner. Are there any members of the public who wish to make public comment? Seeing none. No hands raised online. We will move right along to item number 13, reports of officers, bodies, administrator, controller. I don't have a report. I do want to say though, there was a card here for in-person public comment and it's no longer here. So if anyone knows where it is, if they could bring it back, that'd be awesome. And then also want to say congratulations to everybody sitting here as well as the countywide electeds. I'm looking forward to serving with all of you guys, even Commissioner Gisler for the next 4 years. Yeah, so that's all I have. And thank you, Commissioner Strebs, for your invocation or reflection earlier. It was much needed. Thank you. Even that song. Vice Chair.
I'm going to have that advertisement in my head all night. But that was a very good invocation, Commissioner Strebs. I attended a MAC Smart Committee meeting. They're finally getting back together after a 4 or 5 year hiatus, and it was in the Branch County Jail. So I was, believe me, it was a lot of fun being locked in.
You were right at home, weren't you?
Oh, right at home with 20 rural county commissioners locked in a small room in a jail. That was my idea of a good time. But no, I did learn a lot. We learned a lot about what other counties are doing, kind of sharing ideas, and we're going to get that committee back up and running and formed. And I feel pretty good about that. I want to say a huge thank you to our countywide electeds, specifically, and I know this is going to sound self-serving, But everybody that worked on elections this cycle, from the precinct captains to the poll workers to the clerks of the townships to our county clerk, all of them, our deputy county clerk, all of them worked tirelessly. They were putting in, I'm not kidding you, over 30 straight hours of work from the morning of the Tuesday on Tuesday to my wife came home at like 9:30, 10 in the morning the next day. It's truly a great effort that they're able to do. It's just amazing. And clerks all around the state are doing this. And one of the most underrated positions in government, I think, is your local township clerk, because what they have to do, holy cow, every election cycle. Congratulations to everybody serving here. I think as a board, we're not only hitting our stride. Commissioner Strebs, you hit the nail on the head. We're making the community better by how we work together cohesively as a team with our support staff from administration. We're making this community better each and every day, and I see it, in small steps. And there is hope. Your local government and your school boards, they affect your daily life far more than the federal government ever can, and never will. And that's kind of how the framers of the Constitution envisioned government to work. It's from our local government, and that's what is going to have the biggest impact in day-to-day lives. So don't lose faith. Government at the local level, we're working hard and we're working tirelessly for our constituents. And I think that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I'll get it next time. Bo, go to bed.
Not that late yet, John. Thank you, Chair. I want to echo what the Vice Chair and Commissioner Stubbs have said, that it's our grassroots governments, the villages, the townships, the cities, and the counties that really make a government work for its people and for its businesses, and what makes us stronger, makes us better. We get help from the state and the feds, but at the end of the day, it's at the grassroots level. And I heard that quite a bit over the last month or two or three, that the importance of what we do at the local level to make our communities a great place to live, work, and play. And we do it in small bites. You don't eat an elephant all in one bite. Take small bites and you eat that elephant. So that's what we've been doing, and we've been getting it done. You like that? Okay. Anyway, and I want to thank all of our electeds and all of our county administration and this county board for all their hard work. We've had a lot on our plate. We're getting a lot of things taken care of, and we've got a lot to be proud of. And I think we all need a little applause or pat on the back, and it's great to get the differences of ideas and opinions from many different perspectives. With that said, we need to also thank our many county employees and city and village and township people for their hard work every day. When you see them, tell them thanks. Thank our firemen, our policemen, our ambulance folks for all their hard work and keeping us safe. All of our military people keeping us safe here and abroad. When you see them, take a minute to tell them thanks for what they're doing. I think with that said, have a wonderful week.
You went off script at the end. I got your spiel memorized. You went off script. Lindy, Terrell.
Yes, I do have a few items here, so just bear with me. I'll go pretty quickly. First, we just want to congratulate everyone as well for being reelected, both to our board and our elected officials. We are looking forward as administration to continuing the work in the next 4 years. Again, echoing the statement of the hard work that the clerk's office and their staff and all of their volunteers. Deputy Cole and I were here just for a short period last night, but we definitely saw their hard work at play and their dedication there. So to the clerk's office, also the sheriff's office, we also had our emergency management specialists available as well. And thank you to our BNG staff coming in and assessing the building and making sure we were all good and safe here. I have a few just event reminders coming up. So a reminder to you all about the registration for the new commissioner school. Even though it's called new commissioner school, it's for new and experienced commissioners. If you are interested in attending the session on December 3rd, which will take place in Shelbyville, please let Dina know by November 19th. November is Michigan Adoption Month. Tomorrow on 11/7, the 9th Circuit Court Family Division will host an event celebrating the adoption of children who need a forever home. So that's taking place at our Gold Road Justice Complex from 9:30 to 12:30. Chief Judge Jaguar invites the community to come together and celebrate all families, as is the foundation for a strong Kalamazoo community. We also have some upcoming Veterans Day events. The Portage Zang Senior Center has invited all of y'all to attend their 4th annual Veterans Day breakfast celebration. It will be held at the Air Zoo in Portage on Friday, November 8th, beginning at 8 a.m. And if you can, please RSVP as soon as you can to them. Our Kalamazoo County Veterans Service Office and the Rotary Club of Kalamazoo will also be hosting the 2024 Kalamazoo County Veterans Day ceremony at Robert L. Cook Veterans Memorial Plaza at Rose Parks at 2 p.m. and that is on Veterans Day, so next Monday. During the event, they will also honor the 2024 Veteran of the Year Award to Mike Fry. Today, I did send y'all an email about the Loy Norix Knights Health Center opening up that saved the date for their open house alongside with the Health and Community Services Department. So that is Friday, 11/15 at 2 p.m. We'll have more information to come on that, but that save the date did go out. And then last but not least, we have offered an update with the Emergency Management Director. We have offered the position and they have accepted. That person will start on November 25th and we'll wait for Administrator Catlin to return to release the official announcement to the community.
All right. You want to start?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just want to echo the same sentiments. Congratulations, everybody. It was been a long time, so hopefully we have a little reprieve, do some self-care. Everything's going to be okay. Thank you to our clerk's office and all of their staff and all of the election workers. I've been in those shoes before. It's a very, 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 very long, I want to say day, but it's more than just one day. So yeah, so looking forward to working with y'all the next 4 years, and let's, as Vice Chair Pro Tem says, let's make Kalamazoo a good place to work, live, and play.
Commissioner Strips.
Thank you, Chair. Congrats around again to our colleagues commissioned locally, and huge praise for all of the people that helped pull off our election, including Clerk Place for her leadership and work in that. And I also want to thank each of the voters that participated in the process in this election. I want to thank the voters of Kalamazoo County for expressing their values through their vote. And I'd like to thank the voters of District 2 for honoring me with your support and allowing me to come back and represent and advocate for you and for this community. It's an honor to continue to serve for you and on behalf of you. And for all our young people, including my little one. This is what the work is about, and we're working to make a better future for you.
Thank you, Chair. So everybody took what I was gonna say. So thank you to all our statewide, our countywide electeds. You know, for some woke up disheartened, but to our vice chair's point, the magic happens at the hyper local level. And I think that no matter what happens, as long as we got a budget to take care of our constituents in Kalamazoo County, we're going to continue to do the right thing, especially when Commissioner Gisler agrees with Strebs and I. I'll take that any day of the week. You know, hey, hey, I pay my tithes and I pray. I think I'm all right. So thanks to all the constituents who did come out and vote, especially our young voters, the Gen Zers, because it's hard to sway them when they don't like something. It's like a hard yes and a hard no. So for youngings of 18 to 23, my son's age, that came out and called me and blew my phone up all day yesterday to ask for recommendations when they could have been sleeping in bed, as they do. But they were excited to get out and vote yesterday. And like Jen says, Commissioner Scruggs said to her district, to District 3, they really came out when I looked at those numbers to support myself. So I'm just grateful that we're all still here. We have 2 years not 4 years, but the 2 years was just stressful to get ready for another election. Like after next January, we would have been running again. So to have that cushion and to take a deeper dive into how we can better Kalamazoo over these next 4 years is exciting to me. The fact that we have a smooth budget process and we were able to really get some work done with taking care of our employees, with the percentages and the raises and the cost of living, because I feel that pinch, and I'm glad that we took care of our employees first before we thought about ourselves. So with that, thank you all and have a good night.
Commissioner Gisler?
Thank you, Chair. The folks out in the boondocks, that's my territory, we frankly thought better of the federal election than many in this room, and no grief counselors are going to be required. And one comment for our two deputy administrators, we hope you'll inform Kevin of all the fires you were fighting while he was gone. Thank you.
He thought that was so funny. Commissioner Salute.
Well, despite some of the phone calls and texts I got earlier today, I'll be back. I want to thank my supporters out there in Oshtemo and some in Alamo. Appreciate that. And I am so honored and glad to be back a part of this group. I just think it's an amazing group. They got a lot done. And now the public has entrusted us to continue on. And I really look forward to doing that. So thank the voters and thank you, fellow board members.
All right, without objection, we are adjourned.